Hey guys, we did here at Blueberry Hill. So it's September the 2nd. We've had a kind of funky week. The roofers were getting done. They've been at it for 7 to 8 days almost because it gets hot. They kind of take off around 2 o'clock. Most of the roof is done, the chimney's done. They're going to come back and do cladding on the fascia to do a wraparound, so we don't have to do any painting on the fascia. So that's going to be a good step. I'm not 100% sure when they're coming to do that, but I know they have to order the material because I asked them to do that a little bit later. But anyway, roof is, so we're dried in with the roof as far as we know. It hasn't rained yet, but it's a seamless roof, so it should be very good. Anyway, so we're continuing on with stuff. Angie and I have been doing a little bit of cedar clearing. We got a little bored last weekend and took the bobcat out, started knocking some trees down out at the bottom of the property. It was pretty thick in there, so we just took out the dead stuff, a couple other trees and stuff like that, and just to make it clearing really pretty. And there's 2 small little clearings. Now we can connect them all together and walk around and not be poked in the eye with a bunch of cedar branches and stuff. Anyway, what we're doing today, I'm doing the fan installs. Hopefully I'll get all 3. There's 4. There's 3 or 4 fans. 3. All the bathrooms get fans. I'm putting one in the master bathroom right in the middle because we have a big huge window right by the toilet. It's not going to really be a problem, and if there's somebody having a shower or steamy shower, probably either open the window or definitely the ceiling fan. It's a pretty large ceiling fan. It's a higher grade fan. It's got a zone of 0.9, which is extremely quiet, and a 4-inch duct. So we're going to cut the duct in the container, put it out there and temporarily pop it on. We don't have any overhangs in the master bedroom area just yet. We will later, but so I have to seal that up, at least tape it up temporarily so that we don't get water in that hole. We are going to put outside metal sheathing on there just to keep things nice and consistent, and that's going to happen later. So temporarily going to do the hole, put the louvered vent out there, and then call it good for now. Anyway, on to other things, and I'm going to switch to time lapse and we'll get that fan installed. So here we're starting the venting, the ceiling fan for the bathrooms installed. They're fairly good ceiling fans, a little higher quality. They're a very quiet fan. They got a SONE zone of 0.9. Typical fan is anywhere from 6 to 7, even higher if you get the cheapos. I don't want to hear the fan when it's running, so we ended up spending a few more dollars for it. But anyway, it should be worth it. They are insulated a little bit, blah blah blah. They're a little bit deeper than typical. They almost want a 2x6 construction, but you can see the ceiling above the 2x4s for the ceiling, so we got room. And then to vent it, we go straight out the wall. This is in the master bathroom, so we're gonna have a vent thing out the side. Pretty straightforward. Just go straight out the wall. You notice I'm making the hole bigger because I didn't realize that I got really close to a frame on the outside, and I couldn't put the louvered vents out there. So next on the list was the shared bathroom. This is pretty easy. I'm going through the ceiling to vent this time, not through the wall, because we have an actual attic and wooden walls on the outside in the attic, so much easier to plumb it. I'm using the flexible aluminum type of ducting, 4-inch, and I do wire up the fans because actually the wiring goes inside the fan box, which is kind of legit for installation. You don't need a separate box for it. So I put a hole, just a hole saw. I hate using the hole saws for these things. In the wood they work just fine, but you hit metal and boy, they sure grab really hard. But anyway, you saw me putting up the louvered exhaust. Now I'm putting the actual ducting in place. Put that on there, secured, and we're done. Move on to the third bathroom, which is the spare bedroom rather. Pretty straightforward, same thing. I put it in and then I go up through the ceiling and out the side wall on the outside of the house. Pretty easy. The hole saws work fantastic in the OSB stuff. Here you see me doing this thing caught so many times. It's a 4-inch hole. It's just not fun using it on a drill. Kills my wrists every time. I hate it. So I actually made it bigger with the Sawzall. Can't quite see the detail there, but anyway, it worked. So quick switch of topic.
So we finished the ceiling fan, so we were knocking out some more cedars, so I decided to just get on the Bobcat and clean stuff up. I'm just basically collecting all the wood that I chopped down, knocked down the day before. Nothing crazy, like about an hour's worth of work, and then I was done. I think I ran out of diesel at that point, so I quit, but regardless, we're cleaning it up. It's looking pretty good down there. There's a lot of small pickup to do, a lot of sticks on the ground, but you can see the clearing. It's looking really nice. There's elms and oaks in there, and it's going to be real nice when it's actually settled out and some growth starts back in, grasses and so forth. Anyway, I love playing on the Bobcat. It's kind of fun, and getting rid of all the dead wood is kind of a nice thing to do.
Hey guys, Cutouts here, Blueberry Hill. Thanks for coming back to the channel. So we're going to start, continuation of the plumbing. So now we're going to start doing the rough in for all the wet pipes. Starting in the apartment and moving towards if you're facing the house, the right side of the building. We're going to continue the slope. It's a 1/4 inch per foot, roughly, for the main sewage line, the waste line. And I'm going to start with the sink that goes into the apartment here. That's the number one start. Basically everything on the main line is 3 inches, doing 2 inches from the shower, 1.5 inch from the sinks into 2 inch, and then all the vent lines are 2 inch. So we're going to connect at least in the apartment bathroom, kind of like a V connection. The main line's going that way across to the other bathroom in the middle, the shared bathroom in the middle offices. And it'll be the same thing. There's kind of a V pattern in there as well. I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge. The only challenge is the adapters that you have to put all together to make the lines actually not under stress when you put everything together. We're going to use metal straps to hang everything from underneath, and we're going to use quite a few of them so everything's nicely solid, locked in and solid. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to switch to time lapse like I always do, and we're going to start making holes in the concrete. I've already measured for making sure I don't hit the metal supports on the containers. They're I think it's almost every 16 inches. It's actually less than that, I think. Anyway, we got lucky on this wall where the sink goes, and the shower drain is in line with the toilet drain, and there's nothing there, so we're good here. We'll see if the same thing holds up over in the shared bathroom. And then we're just going to continue. Anyway, time lapse away. See you in a bit.
So here I'm starting to do the cutouts for the 2-inch pipe. I'm using a 2.5 inch hole saw. Boy, they're a pain in the butt to use, I tell you. I don't have the right drill for it. You don't normally have a 90-degree drill with a big handle on it, so you don't get jacked when you use it. But anyway, here I'm using my hammer drill, which does a pretty good job on the concrete. It takes a little bit of time, and then I use a Sawzall to cut the 1 inch thick plywood that's underneath the concrete to make the hole accessible. I switch over from that was a sinkhole. Now I'm going to the shower drain. All these kind of worked out pretty good. I think I might have hit some rebar on this hole, so it took a little bit longer for me to get this one cleared out. It's hard to tell where the rebar is, so when you hit it, and you just have to cut through it. And this hole took a considerable amount of time for me to actually get the rebar out of the way. I'm cutting the hole so the flange for the shower goes in. This kind of recesses on the bottom where the bolts are. It's a little wider near the top. So I'm making the concrete kind of, you can see it a little punched out on the top. Put it in there, put the PVC that sticks down on the bottom, and we're good to go. So here I'm using some 1 inch PVC just to help me with straight lines. Nothing to do with level or anything. It's just hanging stuff so I can have hands-free kind of stuff, and continuing on. For the most part, all this is kind of ad-libbed. I had a plan, but when the plan comes into fruition, you don't know how many bends and angles there are per se. I couldn't figure it out on paper, so when I started doing it, that's when I started using more angles and stuff like that. And then I needed some help. Angie came out and hold stuff while I was gluing stuff in. Makes it a lot easier while somebody holds it while I glue it, etc. So anyway, yeah, not too difficult, I don't think, but just time consuming.
Well, there you go. So this is where the sink is. This one's a vented pipe that goes up through the attic. It's gonna join eventually this vent tube right here. This is a vent after the trap. The P-trap. It's going to come down here and join after the toilet, the vent tube right here somewhere. I believe the wall, it's right here or right here, and that's going to go through the wall right where the bathroom is in the apartment. So anyway, that was fun. That was my first event with plumbing. So I've been reading a lot and studying a lot, and I just want to make sure I do the right stuff. So we got all these sanitary tees, which have a directional flow, 1/4 inch per foot slope. So roughly every 8 feet you got 2 inches. Pretty easy calculation. The way they do it, I've seen the plumbers do it. They put the here you go, the level, and for a quarter off they do something like that, and call it good. So they don't really measure. I'm measuring just because I'm that way, and we'll see if it works. This is the bathroom shower. I put some glue on there, and then I tried to manipulate the PVC, and I got it cocked over just a tiny bit. I'm gonna go upstairs and make sure the glue's okay. I'm gonna reseal this with glue. It's just a construction adhesive, so nothing fancy. But anyway, there it is.
So here's the beginning of the venting for the apartment set of plumbing. So this is going to go into the main stack underneath at the right behind the downside of the toilet, and the other vent stack is on the sink side going straight through the attic. These two are going to get joined up in the attic for a single hole through the roof. So there's only one hole on this side. I will also join the middle bathroom venting to this set of pipes, so there'll be a bunch of pipes coming into one vent stack that goes only one hole through the attic, just to simplify life and not have too many holes in a brand new installed roof. By the way, I'm using my air hammer there to actually get the hole more rounded. So now the fun stuff. So we're underneath. We're gonna actually. Jake came over to help me out. We didn't do too much, but we ended up finishing up this little area going to the middle bathrooms as well. It's always good to have, again, 4 hands to hold this stuff while we glue everything up and try it. The fun with the plumbing seems to be like when you what do you weld first, and kind of the order of glue up. It's not always obvious, depending on how things go together, the weird angles that happen. But anyway, we did pretty good. So that's the vent stack right there, right above Jake's head. Now we're going to continue going down the pipe. We already figured out where we're going with that. And there's the actual line that goes for the vent stack. Now Jake's making a hole for the shower and the shared bathroom, and then he'll do the same thing for the sink area. So the sink area we kind of had to compromise on a little bit. It's right against the 2x4s. We were going to hit a cross piece right on the underneath the container, so I had to move it over. But no big deal. Anyway, we did pretty good with this one. This one went pretty quick. I'm using the air hammer again to just make it round and a little easier, because the bigger hammer drill, it's harder to hold and stuff. But anyway, it does pretty good work. Here I'm cutting out. You can see the Sawzall doing the job from underneath, cutting all the plywood out, make it all nice and round. It's still an access issue in all respects. I'm going through a lot of blades on that, and then we try to fit up the actual piping to make it all work. I believe this is the next day as well. So this is a shower, so it needs a P-trap. So there's a P-trap, and it kind of winds around and goes down to the T for the main stack. This was the easiest way to do it, and I don't believe we're going to need a vent here per se, because these pipes are all along this whole area are going to provide the air circulation for this particular setup. Anyway, we'll see how that flows, right? So I made a 2x4 supports, basically drilled into the cross pieces, and they're pretty solid. I used the band clamp method to hold the pipe to this 2x4. Everything's screwed together, so it's nice and solid. Here you see me doing the T, sanitary T, to the actual, I think that's the sink. So here we go, pop that in there. I didn't show you all little pieces of that, because it's just rinse and repeat kind of thing. But anyway, need some help here and there. Angie came by to help hold a few pieces, and while I drilled and screwed the supports in place. We're at a point where it's still not too bad underneath there to secure everything. And again, you can see the slope there. It is quarter per foot, so you can see a nice slope. Then I move on to doing the fun part. I was dreading doing this because there's no going back here. Well, I guess there is, but it's just concrete. This is where the Chicago loop will go for the sinks and the disposals in the island. So the Chicago loop is kind of a venting loop. I'll show you that later when I'm doing it. But it's kind of a funky loop with it's like it is a oval, and one side is vented and the other side is the wet pipe. So you need that to allow the water to not have a vacuum and a push tendency for blockages. So anyway, this took a little while. You can see some smoke coming out of the plywood. Again, Sawzall, whatever tool I could. And this is about 14-15 inches off the ground underneath this container. So not a lot of workspace. You'll see that in a minute.
Hey guys, we take care of Blueberry Hill, so welcome back. Here's an update on the plumbing. Making pretty good progress. I'm doing roughly a bathroom a day and a half. I had to go buy some more 2-inch fittings, 90 degrees, 45 and 22s, just because of all the stuff I'm doing for the venting. I'm doing everything in 2-inch. I guess I could have gone, some people say 1.5 for the vent for some stuff, and I'm like, I'll just do everything 2-inch. But anyway, you just saw me time-lapse wise. Here's a beginning of a Chicago loop. This is where the island is. The sink's going to be right around here, and this huge thing's going to be probably about this high off the ground. Go down. One of these is a wet pipe, and the other one's the vent loop part. And this side probably will end up being the actual vent that goes down underneath the floor to the vent for the washing machine. So there's a lot of little details in the venting, actually more so than the wet pipe, which is interesting. So I have to figure out how to do all the pipes. I'm very sweaty. I just finished drilling those holes and cleaning them out. Saw the time lapse of that. And anyway, what's going to happen is the drain line's going to go like straight out to the back door. I already put the big pipe in, the main stack. And then the vent pipe is going to go straight over to the utility room, which is off in that corner in the hallway. I'm not going to do a 90 or anything fancy because I don't need to. I just go straight across. And on one of the walls, there'll be a vent stack going up through the attic against the shared wall in the living room. And for the master bedroom, the venting is going to be through the ceiling to that same vent stack going up into the attic. So it's kind of a shared stack. Vent stack as well as main stack, of course. And I'll show you in a second. I'll do a little walkabout with the plumbing I did for the offices, the shared bedroom, the shared bathroom, and then the spare bedroom. So here's a kind of a walkabout of the plumbing, I guess. Here's a clean out right back here. This is the sink. The main stack's all 3-inch. There's a shower. Here's the vent stack. And that goes into a shared vent that's behind the toilet. The toilet is this. So everything goes through here. Everything is done with the sand tees with the actual angled tee, which is by code. You cannot use regular tees for that because it'll just splurt into the pipe and probably go nowhere. The slope is roughly quarter per foot. This slope here in the middle ended up being a little more aggressive. I don't care. And that was strictly just to help this loop right here. This is the other set. This is a shower. Here's the way this worked, just so I didn't have to have too many pipes running all over the place. It looks like a loop-de-doo, but anyway, it should work. And then, of course, the very simple toilet and the shower, the sink. Sorry, that's the sink. We didn't do too much venting here because everything's already going to be vented. The sink's got a vent going through the attic. So there's a vent behind here. There's also another shared vent up there. It's double, so I don't see any issues with any kind of venting problem. And here's the beginning of the main stack running along the bottom of the middle of the house. And right where you see the power, see the gray pipe way down there. I don't have light down here, so I can't really show you very good where the holes are. They're over one beam, this beam right there. It's spreading across that is the hoop Chicago loop that I just made, the top of it anyway, and punched the holes through the ground. So that was the big step, punching the holes, and then we're just going to run a drain all the way to here. It's going to sanitary tee into this, and then of course we're going to run it to this side over here. Utility room is that corner right there, and then our master bath is in the middle over here. So it should be fairly straightforward. I think it's moving along okay. I hope I'm not making any mistakes. We're gonna obviously find out if once we do a flush test and water drainage, but I think the venting is a big problem if you're using smaller lines and the water actually fills the pipe, and it causes a suction as well as a push to the air, and you have to let the air go somewhere. So that's what I understand it to be. It does make sense when you start looking at all the features of the plumbing system. We obviously don't have normal walls, so we don't have to go through all the lumber. The only thing I have to do later on, I'll show that to you of course, is when I'm punching through to the attic, we're going to connect everything on the spare bedroom and the offices. That's on one loop, and then the second loop, vent loop, will go from the master to the middle containers where the game room is, and then punch out through the attic there. So that's the plan. Not looking forward to the utility room because everything's kind of tight there, but we'll make it work. It's going to be what it is, and it's just a little more work, a little more effort to do stuff, but we'll make it either way. So just a bunch of holes in the floor and then going straight up through the attic. The containers on top, not a big deal. I'm just going to cut probably a square hole instead of trying to punch through with a hole saw. Hole saws are such a pain in the butt. I hate them. I'm actually using a mortise bit now to cut multiple holes and punch out the wood because it's much easier to drill. It's actually safer. The big hole saws that have 2+ inches of diameter, when they get caught, they will wing you. I don't have quite the proper drill for making holes 90 degrees to what I'm drilling. Those are probably a lot safer and a little more leverage on them. But anyway, I don't have one, so I'm going to use the mortise bit to get that done. Anyway, talk at you later. See ya.
So here's the hard part underneath the kitchen. Here I'm installing the wet pipe and the vent pipe on that little funky setup you see right there. That's the vent stack on the right, and the wet pipe is on the left. That just basically has a PVC extension into the sink and the dishwasher. So this was kind of fun. I have been putting 20-foot pipes underneath. You can see this one that's a 45-degree angle, goes to the utility room, and then the wet pipe, the drain, is actually going right out. This is the wet drain right here, going to the outside main stack. Anyway, that's about it for this section. Next will be the utility room, and that's going to be exciting because we're going to have to go through the ceiling, 2 ceilings, and throw it into the wall. Fun.